Who hasn't seen any of my stuff before? It was the first time. Anybody first time? So you all know what you're going to get. It's all in store for, right? You're a first timer. Excellent. Always nice to get a bit of fresh blood, right? Weaponization of AI, right? Now, how would you do that? Now, I've been on 5G for a long time. It's an extremely problematic technology, right? And one of the things people should consider, you've got councils across the country putting in 5G transmitters all over. They've been told by central government they can't do an environmental impact analysis. They're not allowed to take into consideration health or environment when they put them up. Now, that should ring an alarm bell with anybody. I don't care if you're a planner, if you're a councillor, doesn't matter who you are, that should ring alarm bells, because that would breach the primary legislation. We're living in a country where you've got councils that will shut a restaurant down because you've got the wrong coloured knives. They'll shut a construction site down because you haven't got a hard hat and an orange coat. However, they'll put 5G up, an electromagnetic radiation emitter, no environmental impact analysis. If people can't see that, well, you know what I mean? It's unfortunate. It's what's called asymmetrical unconventional warfare, right? The reason we call it that is because it's not a normal fight, like what you're seeing in Ukraine against the Russians, okay? How they're doing it is through this net zero, right? Got a lot of councillors around the country now telling you net zero is a load of nonsense. That means it's a political agenda. And it's a political agenda to harm you. That is the definition of terrorism. You're being told by your local authority you can't drive a car. You've got to drive an electric car. They're going to shut your roads. They're going to put bicycle lanes in and all that sort of stuff for a political agenda. Not real. We've seen the chemtrailing, stratospheric aerosol injection. Yet this morning when we were driving down from Newcastle, they had the ionospheric radiators on. They're pouring billions of watts of energy into that ionosphere to increase the temperature, to gaslight the general population, because they just haven't looked. Geoengineering is a thing. You can go and get a degree or a doctorate in it, right? So it's not something that, it's not just woo-woo. It's not me just making it up. The British government have just recently said they are not doing geoengineering. No stratospheric aerosol. I can look up and I can see it. I can go out and look at it now. They've allocated £67 million to a company, have been paid, and now they've allocated an extra 800 million. But guess what? Ask your MP, he'll tell you it's not happening. It's just all your imagination. They've actually got the invoices going backwards and forwards, but it is just your imagination. And if you ask your MP, he will deceive you and tell you you're a conspiracy theorist. It's absolutely unbelievable. Who's behind it? These characters. George Soros sock puppet, Khan. C40 city chair, ultra low emission zone. Now, the World Economic Forum, you see this little thing here where it tells you the World Economic Forum chose Belfast, London to be a smart city. Hang on a minute. The World Economic Forum, did you vote for them? Do you know who they are? Did anybody in this room talk to anybody who would tell you that your smart cities are going to be picked, chosen, and that there is a UK authority, so that goes to all councillors. All your councils get this document and it tells them the World Economic Forum are behind that, but they're also sustainable transport. What could it be? Now, Khan deployed lots of hardware across the whole of London to track, to trace what on the face of it looks like it's some finding type technology, right? To clean air, right? So if he's cleaning the air, why the 999 calls went up by 50%. 30% increase in breathing difficulties and 20% increase in heart attacks. What could it be? Because he's going to clean the air. The air's getting lovely and clean. But guess what? We've got this catastrophic increase in sickness. And these are 999 call-outs where people can't get their breath. So what's causing it? Well, I can tell you what, they're not asking any questions. The directors for public health have a duty to protect you. If I saw 6 Sigma variation in statistics like that, your government would be all over it. They'd be going, what's going on? What has caused this? Well, guess what? What do you think's caused it? That.
You're goddamn right.
Now, this one is on a gimbal, right? Now, we were told, Matt was told, it's just a camera, right? I can tell by looking at it, it's a little bit on the heavy side for a camera. It's got a stereoscopic vision system. You don't need that for ANPR, because an ANPR image is only 2D. You only need one vision engine, yeah? So you've got that, and what happened, I contacted Matt and said, I need to have a look at one of these. And obviously he knows a few lads who run around getting bits and bobs, right? So this is the document that comes with it. What it says is it can live stream video. When did you know it was a video recorder? Anybody tell you it was a video recorder? Anybody tell you, right, that it's connected to the police and it's also got a wide range of roadside equipment it attaches to? Now, after I got back from London, right, I contacted Matt and asked for some more imagery, right, some high definition imagery of some of the hardware, because I was very concerned.
Susan Hall, when I spoke to her, I said to her, and my question was, if you get elected, this was like 2024 elections for Susan Hall. I said to her, if you get elected, you're going to take ULEZ down. Are you going to remove the hardware? That was my question to her. She said, no, it'll be for the police. So they basically have admitted, so I've got that on video with Susan Hall admitting that if they wouldn't take the hardware down if she got elected, because it would be for the police, they would have only stopped the ULEZ zone.
I saw the video, Matt. Right, well, guess what? It also attacks the radar. So I wrote to TfL and I said, how many radar guns have you got? How many radar guns have you attached to the ULEZ? And they said, none. There's any. We haven't got any. They've got Jacobs, one of the large defence contractors, to do an environmental impact analysis, right? It cost tens of millions. And guess what it missed out? The laser detection ranging, that thing, what's called LiDAR, and they missed the radar element for some inexplicable reason. So the people that would know what radar is and what lasers are missed out the hardware. These are Osram Black. They're a biometric sensor. That's a laser symbol there. And you see them focusing into vehicles. So they're focusing into vehicles. These can cause ionization in air. Lasers and cause ionization, called multiphoton ionization. That's it there, all right? So all I need to do is get enough energy in air, but you can see just on the top, the bit I was really interested in was this little black box and this one. Like I said, Matt, the hero that he is, made sure that I got the in-depth pictures. The standard, all this transport infrastructure is covered in the 802 15.6 standard. That standard covers humans as well as cars. So you've got car, vehicle, body. But the other thing, see that flicker before, that's the US government. You never ever want to see flicker because you can have a fit. Don't know how to see it. These infrared lasers operate in a non-visible spectrum, so you cannot see them. So you're going to be driving down the road. We've got evidence of that and people losing control of vehicles. Totally illegal. The standard says you cannot have a pulse modulated flickering light aimed at a person. And that's exactly what they do. And we've got the evidence of it. This is a nice little piece of hardware that we've discovered. There's 48 lasers. That's got a stereoscopic vision engine and it's directly on top of your head. As we're driving in this morning, Riverside Road, that the pedestrian, this is aimed at a pedestrian. So it's right on top of your head, less than a metre from the top of your head. There's the two cameras. There's the vision engines, and you've got 48 laser IRD lasers, right? What is it for? Did they tell you about it? They didn't tell me about it. I didn't know that they were going to be spying on me.
These have been appearing all over the borough. I was in Slough the other week, and they're all over Slough, and they've been appearing around Higgins now. I've only started seeing these in the last few weeks. I don't know if it's because you lot have like alerted us to it, but I've started noticing.
Once you start seeing them.
And I'm seeing more and more.
Yeah. Well, you can see here, infrared lasers cause cataracts. So the first thing I did, went to the NHS, and checked the increase. That's the increase in eye injury, cataracts after this equipment was put in. Totally covered, done anything about it, but guess what? That's what I look for, because I know that infrared lasers cause cataracts. So that's the NHS document that were found. The Public Health and Controlled Disease Act, it would be a criminal offence for anybody to put that equipment in without an environmental impact analysis. And we got it put in all over the country, in every single city, town and village, and your councils haven't done any. What they have said is it's an upgrade to the transport infrastructure. I mean, at least GLE did have an environmental impact analysis. They just missed the naughty bit. Fusion, that's what it's called. Fusion relies on lasers, vision engines, and radar. There's three elements. It's battlefield derived, so I can see on a battlefield. I need to be able to see things on a battlefield. I've got somebody firing bombs at us, right? And firing bullets at us, so I've got to really try and see them. This is London. They call it the London experiment. Did you know you're being experimented on? Did anybody? It's all a breach. 2012 Social Value Act. They have to tell you, and I haven't done anything.
Ah, you motherfucker!
This is a picture. That's the laser detection ranging piece of kit. That's the directional weapon system, which we'll come to in a minute. So that's Senses, the little grey box. What Senses is signal trace. This is a document here, Senses ID. It can talk to every single device in your mobile, in your vehicle, right? So you can be walking past. It can then analyze your media access codes into your car. It can tell you who's in the car. This can tell you how many passengers are on the car. It can tell you, so you know if you've used your mobile phone and you've got a thumbprint on it, it'll pick it up. Facial recognition. See how many people who open their mobile phones with their face. Absolutely diabolical. And guess what? That picks it up, that little grey box. So hang on a minute. What's this thing here? If you've got radar, it's a 2.4 gigs radar element called Senses ID. So what's this little thing here? Because that's a bit I was really interested in. Well, that's it there. It's called HEMADAR. Radar. This is another one. This is AGDs. And what they're doing, they're aiming at pedestrians. Right? You should never ever have radar aimed at you. And if you do get it aimed at you, you need to have a distance from it. All right? It's been no distance, it's been no warning. That there, non-ionizing radiation, should be on all of these. You could get a child, climb up this pool, plane or whatever. You're supposed to have a physical barrier. Because if you're in the near field, it would kill him. They haven't done any. They haven't even put a sticker on it. So this is the equipment, and that's the HEMADAR radar that Transport for London told me doesn't exist. It's a figment of my imagination. We've got the images of them in London. You know, on the tribunal said, that picture could have come from anywhere. I mean, I've got Matt's voice in it going, by the way, that is what you're looking for there, right? So unfortunately, obviously we had to get a closer look, didn't we? Yeah? And what we discovered, this is it here. This is HEMADAR radar, and it's got a gun sight, right? And it's also, when it's been broken open, what it's got, see, there's a major difference between sensors and radar that's been developed to cause bodily harm. What I would require in an electronic assault weapon, ceramics is the first thing I'd look at. You've got a ceramic head there. You've also got an aluminium heatsink, and this is built, it's what's called radiation hardened. The electronics are on the back end of this PCB board, and that's so when you fire the signal, hits the target, bounces back, and doesn't burn out the electronics, because that wouldn't be very good, would it? You cannot run a weapon and then burn it out. So that's why that's built like that, okay? This is the other element. As you can see, this is a ceramic substrate once again. If you see ceramics, you know they're going to run hot, okay? This thing, it's 32 cavity back ceramic. On the opposite side, it's got a Wi-Fi connector on this antenna. Now, we've been told by your local authorities, this doesn't communicate with the network. It's just, we don't know what it's for. Ben's had a response. We've even told them they don't know what it's for. They've actually literally stated, we do not know what this is for.
Man, there you go with that bullshit.
How does it work? Well, I can tell you how it works. It can pick you up in the street, all right, and it can scan you, but it can also, through a synthetic aperture, can focus a beam at you. And if it focuses that beam at you, that is an existential threat to life. So that's what, I know it doesn't look very big, but they're not very big anymore. The ones I worked on were pretty big, I can tell you. These are tiny. They've got large capacitors. I'm getting a massive capacitor the size of my fingernail now, where we used to have kit like this. So there's the patents for it. This is a phased array electronic assault weapon patent, phased array. Now look at these, look at the amount of patents the technology play in that space. These are built to harm you. That's the amount of patents, the prior art for this particular patent, and it states there clearly it's an electronic assault weapon, phased array. That's what you have on your street furniture. Covert weapons to cause bodily harm, covert, right? So electromagnetic radiation weapons, I can fire them through walls, smart meters, all dangerous kit, right? Where you've got an intermittent modulated frequency. These all cause bodily harm, okay? So here you have another suite of patents. They're building electronic assault weapons covertly to harm you, right? Because you can't see it. It has no entry or exit wound. You get people, I hear people, you know, they suffer neurological disorders, anxiety, depression. They've got all sorts of things going on with them, and some of them haven't got a clue what it potentially could be. To make a point of the ceramic head, this is a radar gun, right? Now that radar gun is on a PCB board. So there's the 4 planar antenna, okay? It's in the rear here and it fires the gun through there. Now, coppers standing behind it that fire it at a vehicle, it bounces off the vehicle, bounces back and hits them, and guess what? They had to stop them using it because they were all getting cancer. The World Health Organization, so not standing in front of it, just the reflection of it, but the reflection of an antenna that's been situated on a PCB board. See, that is not safe. It obviously wasn't safe to the coppers who were firing them, standing behind it, but that, see, you were sitting in a car, you're traveling down a car, you've got a bit of protection. These pedestrians have got no protection at all. In a car, it acts as a Faraday cage. So that wouldn't bother me. Some copper pumping them, it bothered them all right, because they were starting to get cancer from the reflection, and that's why they had to stop it. This copper, what Cherry says here, this Dr. Cherry said, you should never ever, there is zero amount of radar you should be exposed to. And we've got kids crossing at schools, we've got people going to work, they've got no idea, they're standing pedestrian crossing, pressing buttons and being mass irradiated. It's absolutely criminal. And it's been done covertly. And no wonder they've done it covertly, they don't want to know. Further evidence, this is a Plestex board. You will find it in automotive. It's got 150 meters. Once again, it's on a PCB board, no ceramics. These, that's a motion sensor, an IR motion sensor. You'll see once again, no ceramics. Ring doorbell type technology there, no ceramics. Not safe. None of these are safe. You get too close to them, none of them are safe. But I'll tell you now, it's not built as a weapon. Once I start to see ceramics, because I worked on ceramics, right, specifically because the anodes and the cathodes we used to get hot. So as soon as I saw ceramics, when we cracked open that radar gun from Hillingdon, I was very concerned. The standard 802.15.6 now gets really interesting here because this hooks up to a MAC address, media access code. All right, so you've got now that can be a media access code in your vehicle. If you've got 4 people sitting in a vehicle, it can speak to them. All right, this equipment can speak to it through that standard, and it can actually tell how many people are in the vehicle, who you are, total GDPR breach. I mean, we know that's fine on we, but this is just like went right over the top. Here we have, how did they get this media access code to work, really? Well, what they did, the British government terrorised the general population. It was called Project Fear. They terrorised people to take an injection. Now, when we get to the injection bit, it is going to get naughty, right? It's not working. I can tell you now, it's not working. Their weapons are not working, right? If they had been, They had a plan to kill a lot of people in 2019 to 20 and it didn't happen. So their weapons aren't working. And that doesn't mean to say that if you have had it, you have to mitigate it by staying away from that equipment in the first instance. But also there is a protocol which you can take to get rid of the heavy metals because they are chelating out of the body, which is a good thing. They terrorised you. They breached the terrorism laws, right? They conspired with the BBC to terrorise you to take this. It's a PCR test. On the end of the PCR test, you'll see these little fibres. That's the bud. These are the little fibres. That's a hydrogel injector, right? There's a pattern for it. So when they were sticking it right up your nose, I mean, people, think about it. You were getting it stuck right up into the top of your nasal passage. Like, I mean, come on. What was it for? If you had anything, a bit of spit would do. So why would they say? And they sent them out to every single home in the country for you to stick that up your kids. I saw a woman and she was sticking it right up a little boy's nose, right? And his nose started to bleed. She had it right up. He started bleeding out of his cavity in the top of his head. What they really did, they transplanted, right, in that hydrogel, these nanoparticulates. That's them there. Right, and that in the frontal lobe, probably one of the reasons why you get a lot of people who just aren't switched on, right? Not their fault. They took a preparation and I can switch off certain words because you've got to remember they're in a mesh network. They're like what we call NCPs, network controlled persons, right?
Can you say that again? Just the way you said it.
What we call NCPs, network controlled persons, right?
How? Never. Never.
The network is actually controlling everything the thing can do.
No. Wait. Wait.
Yes.
Like I said, it's not working. I know people that took this. It isn't working with quite a few of them. Now, how they get them into you is through an injection. They're graphite ferritic nanometal materials. And what they do is, once they're in there, they start to clump together. And that's why you can then dig them out, because they're on the move all the time. So you can remove them. High power magnets, not if you've got a pacemaker fitted, because that can stop your pacemaker. Pretty dangerous. But Matty boy, I mean, quite amazing. Matt Hancock admitted it. And he just made a joke of it. He said, oh, it was just carrying on. No, he wasn't. Because guess what? We've got the scientific papers. Part of this IE 802 15.6 is all about getting this injectable. Now, this lad, who I know personally, went on holiday with his brother. Went on holiday to Italy. And what I've got a really heavy neodymium magnet. Like pretty heavy stuff. So you can see it's in the total vertical. I'm pushing on his skin so there's no skin tension. All right? The magnets attaching to the nanoparticles. All right? You can get these neodymium magnets, buy one, test people, test the family and friends. And if they have got them, make sure that they get them removed. Because if you don't remove them and you're standing at that pedestrian crossing, if you're standing at a pedestrian crossing, believe us, it's a lot more dangerous. Because these are up-converted nanoparticulates are not safe at all because they're planning something really bad. They can track you at a long distance with those nanoparticles. So you can see they're sticking on. Watch, we'll go at the vertical. It's impossible. You know what I mean? And that is because he's been injected with the... now, I mean, we did hundreds of them. This study, this was an independent scientists. And what they had discovered was these graphite ferritic nanometal materials, lanthanides. I was looking for lanthanides from the get-go because I knew about the DoD project to track weapon on the battlefield. So I know the technology. So we were looking for it very early on. And that's why we set up the magneteers around the country, going out and testing people, cities and towns and villages. It's all tied to this. Secret militarized armaments and residential technology. It was called network-centric warfare. That's what its real name is. Network-centric warfare. All your devices in your home potentially can be used against you. I mean everything. They were designed for dual purpose. You've got these large data centers with...
excuse me, that is not a data centre, that is a mass surveillance centre.
Mass surveillance centre, forgive us, Matt. That is a large surveillance centre, massive, and think about it, right? So they're going to use 16 billion watts of energy I thought we're trying to conserve energy. I thought we're trying to reduce the temperature on the planet. Well, that's not reducing any temperature. That's mental. So they're gonna use all your water. They're gonna use all your energy, right, to run these data centers. Okay, was it, Matt?
Every time you say it's a data centre, you're manifesting their reality.
So it's exactly right. It's mass surveillance weapons. It's to control the weapon system. They've got to know who the victims are. AI, it's going to run AI, right? So AI can look at all the sensors and it can amalgamate them all, right, using this hardware, right? So it can actually see like all that kit that's been put up, like inductive loop. When you travel up to a set of traffic lights, what they've got, you can see it the road, right? It's called inductive loop. It's been out there for decades, all right? I wouldn't say it's safe, but it's not deliberately there to harm you, okay? So as you're going up to a traffic light, you'll see them in the road, so it knows you're sitting there and it then changes the lights. You'll get a run up, so you'll see them on the road. We've been down the motorway, they're all over the motorway, where they're monitoring weight of vehicles, where they're monitoring number of vehicles, it's all there. So these AI systems can bring all of that information into one space and then they can start doing something really nefarious with it. Now, the commonalities between radiation pollution and what they call coronavirus. I don't know, did you see the interview I did with the BBC about the coronavirus? And they were saying 5G's got nothing to do with it. I went, hang on a minute. Electromagnetic radiation, an immune system suppressor. It doesn't matter whether it specifically caused it or not. It destroys your immune system. Consequently, it's got to be responsible for something. And they went over and over again. The scientific papers show a corona, an electrical discharge, is identical to what they called the coronavirus. It's called me a conspiracy theorist, but why name it the same? You know. I mean, they could have thought of another name. One of the things that we see, it's a bit hot out there. You've got this mass deployment. This is Leeds. You've got 3, 4 telecommunications masts. What is 5G really? It's a battlefield. It's a battlefield technology. It was developed on the battlefield, right? The sensors, the fusion, it's all battlefield derived. So what are they planning? Well, it's unbelievable. Now, I started my journey in relation to this, and the reason for that is because I know quite a bit about optical radiation, either as weapons or as tools to use, all right? Modulated frequency, you'll see this one, all LEDs that are now being mandated by your authorities, that's called flicker. It causes central nervous system cancer, stroke, illness, sickness, kills all the insects, ecocide. Why do you not see any moths in that flying around? You know, the old high pressure sodium. These are 6,000 and 7,000 Kelvin. The whole purpose of having orange lights, was because they're low risk. They're not no risk, they're low risk. So artificial light, 2,000 Kelvin, that's why it was orange. It wasn't because your council liked orange, it's because it doesn't damage the environment as much as this. That's 6,000 Kelvin. So my council rocked up outside my house, no diffuser, which is another breach of the standard, pulse modulated in 6,000 and 7,000 Kelvin. So I'm like, whoa, hang on a minute. That's London. So you see they've increased the optical radiation, which they know is an environmental pollutant. The only 2 authorities, right, that can pollute the environment with optical radiation are Ports Authority and Lighthouse. You know, the lighthouse flashes the light? They're the only 2 authorities that are allowed to pollute the environment with optical radiation. But your local authority, well, Corn's done a massive job, hasn't he? So guess what? We've got a cancer epidemic, under 50s, catastrophic, and nobody's talking about it. Apart from the heart attacks and the breathing difficulties and killing all the insects, I just forget about it. And if you speak to any of these local authorities, or you speak to any of the, you know, RSPB, anybody you speak to, guess what? All captured. All captured. I contacted the RSPCA and I said, right, you see you're chipping dogs. If you put a chip dog into a Wi-Fi field in your home, right, you're going to reduce its life expectancy because that chip is going to act as an antenna to reflect inside its body. So it increases the toxicity, right, the oxidative stress rate, and leads to cancer. Now, the Labour Party have decided, right, to bring, to reverse the ban on all petrol vehicles. Okay, this is all part of the low emission zone. This study has just come out. Well, lithium cobalt batteries, right, have now been deemed as dirty bombs. They're pretty serious, okay, because I can actually blow them up remotely, believe it or not. I can blow them up remotely. It was all part of network-centered warfare. But this study, this is a German study. And my local MP, right, is a woman called Sharon Hodgson. She's the health secretary for the Labour Party currently. So I write to Sharon and I go, Sharon, we've just got this document in from Germany. It's German government backed, multi-million-pound project where they have assessed the levels of radiation in the cabin. Varying magnetic fields are never safe. Overhead power cables, you don't live under them for a reason. So why would you sit in an electric car? The electric cars are supposed to be ICNIRP compliant. That's the International Commission for Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection. They're supposed to be ICNIRP compliant. ICNIRP compliance on varying magnetic fields is 6.25 microtesla. The minimum in every hybrid, every bit of public transport, 100 microtesla. Guess what? That'll sterilise you. Make no mistake about it. So you've got this issue with these electric cars, and nobody seems to want to talk about the potential environmental impact. Now, we all know what happened at Luton Airport. This was a hybrid diesel, okay? Obviously, didn't have a lot of diesel in the tank, right? The battery started getting a bit hot, burst into flames, heated the tank up, because you've got to get diesel pretty hot before it explodes like that. So the diesel, there obviously wasn't much left in the tank, and it obviously expanded until it went bang, yeah? So pretty dangerous stuff, right? The fact that they are 100 microtesla minimum in all of them, you know, they tested hybrids, public transport, so surely electric trains. I mean, listen, nothing wrong with getting on the tube, it's electric, right? But how long are you on it for? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, max, yeah? You've got people driving around the country in electric cars that going to sterilise their kids. I mean, it's not complicated, right? Impact of electromagnetic radiation field exposures. This was a study, a scientific study, on the back of all of the available science. So picking science papers from all over the world, that study stated health effects, sterility, infertility. I can tell you, in ICNIRP guidance, right, I've got a document where women miscarry 300% more when they're exposed to an ICNIRP level radiator. So your car's 100 times over that. Now this document's quite an interesting one. This is a document, 1976. It's an unclassified military document. Your government will tell you microwave radiation from their mask perfectly safe. Smart meter perfectly safe. It's all in your head. Don't worry about it. This study, this was a military study, now not classified. And what it says is lower power. So lower power microwaves, that can cause you to have a heart attack. That can cause you to have a stroke, right? So that's what I can do with very low power microwaves. How that occurs is this. What you do is, right, you change the cell polarity. So you see when you're standing at your pedestrian crossings, I can change that scanner, that 32 cavity back. It's got an antenna, right, speaking to the grid, so it can see you and identify you. And then what I can do, I can change the polarity, right, and send it counterclockwise, and your blood will go from that to that. It's called relay or relou. Depends how you pronounce the French, right? So you just change the polarity. That doesn't take energy, a lot of energy. I just have to change the polarity so you can see how potentially lethal this equipment is. Yeah? That's why I get trolled all the time. That's why that clown who gets paid, he's got a business, £200,000 a year, 24 hours a day, trolls me. We've reported his websites, we've reported his pages, he uses me images, me foot, everything. Guess what? Still up. Brigade 77. And, as Matt said, all the kiddie fiddling, My Little Pony, I've got pictures of him with little boys with nothing on, right? That's who he is. Because it's a little club, isn't it? They're all in that club together. We're seeing a lot of that at the minute, aren't we? Yeah, yeah. All that Epstein lot. Whatever we can do, they're documents. So they're not kidding, are they? Because I didn't make that up. That's them. That's our adversary. That is the enemy. So they go to all these meetings, right? They have these little behind-the-scene meetings. Obviously, get a few lines of cocaine in them as well, to give them a bit of bravado. Yeah, I mean, you could see he was up his nut, like, did look he was up his nut.
He looked a bit pasty, mate.
Didn't he? Look, I looked like he was definitely on drugs or something. Yeah, yeah. Oh, he did shit his pants. He did, he stunk. Absolutely stinking. Yeah. Adaptive control. So this is your UNIX, this is your traffic system, the adaptive control, the 802.15.6. But what its real name is, Satan. Silent assassination through an adaptive network. So what they've done, they've built this transport network around you. They're not going to pull the trigger today, they can't, because obviously they've got the issue going on in Ukraine. We have got time. There's enough of us, we're growing our numbers, going on the offensive like Ben, Matt and others, people going out there and dismantling and taking it down. It's the reason why the coppers are running for the hills, because what they're going to do? Take you to court. They've just bailed on Matt's case, right? We were supposed to be in court up until Friday, and at the very last minute, on the Thursday, I dropped the mother load on them, yeah? Because you're not allowed to go into a criminal court case and, you know, bring a rabbit out the hat. You're not allowed to do it. You've got to show them their knickers before you get in there, yeah? They want to see the colour. They want to see the colour before you get into court. Otherwise, the judge gone, not allowing that. So on the Thursday, I dropped the mother load on them, right? Which is irrefutable evidence. They've already got enough. Matt's defence is, this is a weapon system. Same as Ben's defence. These are weapon systems, right? Irrefutable. His barrister, within a few minutes, wasn't it, Matt? 15 minutes? Got it straight away. As soon as I looked at the documents and I showed them what a phased array element looked like as a weapon with a ceramics and something that's possibly not safe, but it has been built to do you serious harm. Yeah. So they got it quite quickly, which was brilliant. That tells me if a lawyer will get it pretty quickly, the jury will. Now, Matt had a jury trial, and guess what? They just don't want to play. They've decided they don't want to play. Ben, I've had him in a couple of times, and the CPS don't want to play it, do they, Ben? They just don't want to play. Right? Threaten people with arrest, and then don't do anything about it, kind of follow through.
Sorry, what does Satan stand for?
It's an anagram for it's silent assassination through adaptive network. And the adaptive network is what they've deployed, we can prove, in the transport infrastructure. I can tell you now, when they see these images, they, like everybody in here, are going to go, well, that looks very suspect. I mean, why? If it was bona fide, if it was okay, why did Transport for London lie to us and say it didn't exist? They've now admitted there's 10,750. I know they're still lying because I know there's 17,000 junctions across London, and at those junctions you can see at least 5, 6, 8 of these radar guns. And we've also discovered the AGD, the small 32 cavity back weapon. So that's where we are. It's up to us under the Criminal Damage Act. So Criminal Act, you're entitled in law, if you know something, you only have to believe that it's harmful, you've got the right to remove it. You don't have to prove it, you just have to believe it. Now what's going to happen, they're going to turn around and say, I don't believe you. So your actions, anybody taking action, right, have to make them aware at the very first instance it's a weapon. And that's it. And then your true belief, we can then prove in a court, and that's why we don't want Matt in court.
Everything you've been taught since birth is nothing but a rich man's trick. The world is as it's always been, ruled over by the wealthiest, most powerful families. It's the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules.
You're
goddamn right.
From the beginnings of civilization 5,000 years ago, all people everywhere have understood the Golden Rule. They were under no illusions. It's only in the last 60 years since we've all been programmed by the mass media to believe in the official narrative, aka the history written by the winners.
This is the bullshit of all bullshit, you scumbag!
That the mass of people have become mentally enslaved by the illusion that the world is run by democratically elected governments rather than by the wealthiest, most powerful families. So in 2025, the mass of humanity are fully programmed NPCs.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
As we witnessed during the obvious psyop of 2020, where our rulers announced the coming of a real-life 1984 they called the Great Reset, and humanity responded by saying, "Okay then," and sleepwalking right into the nightmare of global totalitarian dystopia.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Well, I'm not a fucking sleepwalker.
Damn!
I'm wide awake to what's happening in the world and why it's happening. And I'm betting that if you're still watching this, so are you. Here's the twist. I know how we can stop 2026 becoming 1984.
Really?
So if you want to find out how you can help humanity wake up from the nightmare of rule over the many by the few for free, click the link in the description and visit the Self Mastery is Enlightenment Training Dojo.